Hello my beautiful friends, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Anna if you're new here, and today I'm going to show you how to make my favorite smooth and creamy lobster bisque. I was going over the ingredients for dinner tonight and I noticed that I have a bunch of tomatoes that I need to use up because they're all wrinkly and looking a little sad, honestly. So I had these and I had some lobster in the freezer and I was like, what better thing to make than lobster bisque? So I figured that I will bring you along so you can learn how to make this amazing and delicious recipe. So to start, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to roast my veggies because I find it gives you a much deeper, fuller, delicious flavor. I'm using my Dutch oven because I'm pretty much gonna make everything in here. I'm going to blend it with my hand blender. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you can throw everything in a baking dish and just add it to a blender at the end and it's gonna be the same thing. So you're going to need some tomatoes. I'm using a mix of tomatoes that I had. So I'm using some cherry tomatoes, about a cup, and then you're gonna need about 6 to 8 Roma tomatoes. As you can see, these are quite small, so I'm using 8. You're going to need celery, carrots, onion, basil, parsley, garlic, a lemon, well, half a lemon, salt, pepper, a little bit of butter, and some cayenne pepper. That's pretty much everything you're gonna need. It's very simple. So here's what I'm gonna do. First, I'm pretty much gonna add my onion, carrot, celery, lemon. I'm gonna wait to put the garlic. All I'm gonna do is slice my tomatoes in half and just add them to my pot. Okay, now that all of my tomatoes are in, I'm going to add in the rest of my cherry tomatoes, and now it's going to add my basil, parsley, and my garlic. I'm also going to sprinkle my cayenne pepper on top. You can use less cayenne pepper if you like. I personally like the little kick that it adds to the lobster bisque. Season everything very well with salt and some pepper. And if you're wondering where's the lobster, we're gonna get that in just a minute. But first we have to pop this in the oven so it starts cooking. Okay, good amount of pepper, and I'm also going to add in a few dabs of butter and a sprinkle. I think I forgot to mention this, but you're gonna need just a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna add a little more butter because why not? And this is what you want your concussion to look like. Now this is going to bake at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like once we get there. My veggies are in the oven roasting, so now it's time to make our lobster stock. Like I said, lobster is very expensive, and especially in today's economy, you don't want to waste anything from it. So we're gonna use the shells to make the lobster stock. Right now I have here 2 lobsters. They still have the meat inside because we have to boil them for just a few minutes. It's going to infuse the lobster meat with a little more flavor, so I like to infuse it, like cook it in the stock for just a few minutes, and then I remove them and just add the shells back in. You're gonna need a little bit of white wine, a little bit of brandy. You're gonna need, again, some celery, carrots, garlic, parsley, a bay leaf, some onions, and some peppercorns, and a little bit of salt, a little bit of water, and just a drizzle of olive oil. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to turn on the heat to medium, and now we're going to add parsley, onion, carrot, celery, our bay leaves, lots of garlic, peppercorn. We're going to cook that in just a little drizzle of olive oil. Not that much, just a little bit. And we're going to let that cook for about a minute. After about a minute, you're going to add in your brandy. And you're going to add in your white wine, add in your water, season it with a pinch of salt. Okay, and now we place in our lobster. We're gonna cover and we're gonna let the lobster cook for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to remove it so we can remove the meat. It's been 5 minutes, so now it's time to remove our lobster tails from the stock. And as you can see, it's nice and red. The lobster tails are not cooked through yet. Now it's time to remove the meat from our lobster tails, and here's how I like to do it. Remember, tails are a little hot, so be careful. I like to get some very sharp kitchen shears, and I'm just gonna go in and just cut along the back of the lobster. It's a little hot, so please be careful. And then I like to go just down the spine, you could say. Okay, just like so, and you should be able to just cut it in half and then remove the meat from the lobster. This is going to go right back into our stock. The heat is on medium. I'm going to bring it down to medium low. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. After a good 20 minutes, this is what your veggies should look like. And now I'm just to simply place my lobster meat on top of the veggies, because it's going to cook in the oven for about, I would say, like another 5 minutes. But you do want to baste it with a little bit of this beautiful oil that's here. So just grab some of this oil and baste your lobster tails with it. And this is going to finish cooking the lobster tails. Beautiful. Okay, so now this is going to go back into the oven for about 5 minutes. My lobster cooked for a total of 5 minutes. So now my veggies have cooked for a total of 35 minutes. I actually let it cook longer than what I told you guys in the first time. I've forgotten how long I let my veggies cooked, but so it's been a total of 35 minutes with the lobsters on top, and now this is perfectly cooked. I am going to remove my lemon, but I am going to add that juice right in there, because that's gonna give us beautiful citrusy flavor. Yes, so all my veggies are nice and tender, just exactly how I want it. Now it's time to drain our lobster stock. So I have a big cup here, and you want to pass it through a sieve to catch any of those big pieces that may fall in, as you can see. Now we have our beautiful, beautiful lobster stock, and now I'm going to add in about 2 cups of this into my pot. I'm going to add some heavy cream, and now we just blend until nice and creamy. After blending for a good 5 minutes, you're gonna have something that looks like this. Obviously, if you want it creamier, you can blend it a little bit more, but to me this is perfect. Now this is a little too thin for my liking. I'm gonna make a cornstarch slurpee, so I'm gonna add about half a tablespoon of cornstarch and mix it with some of our bisque, and just mix that in, mix that very well, and add it to your bisque, and this is going to thicken it up just a tiny bit more. So I'm just gonna let it cook for about 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, and that should thicken a lot more. Our bisque is finally completed. It's nice and thick, exactly how I like it. It's not too thick, but it's perfectly thick to my liking. Now, this is optional. Here I have a little bit of salted melted butter, and here's what I like to do. I like to cut some of my lobster and cook it in this beautiful melted butter just for about, what, maybe like a minute. And this is going to make it even better and so delicious. I'm just gonna let this sizzle for like about a minute on my skillet. This is perfect. It's nice and sizzly, and lobster, in case you didn't know, loves butter. So I like to add one of my lobster tails, well, half of it, and to my plate, and then I just scoop some of my bisque all over the top, and then I like to top it with one of these, just like that. A little bit of cream all over the top to make it extra fancy. And a sprinkle of chopped basil. And here we have our beautiful lobster bisque. And now it's time to try it. Let's see how it is. Before I forget, once the bisque was thickened up just a little bit, I did add a little splash of sherry vinegar, and oh, it's so good. Just kind of like brines everything up. This is beautiful. It's creamy. It has a tiny little kick from the cayenne pepper that I think just brings the whole thing together. I hope you guys enjoyed my lobster bisque recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and go enjoy my lunch because I can't stop eating this. It's so, so good. Written recipe on my website, anitasrecipes.com. Make it, you won't regret it. So good and creamy and just delicious. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.